multi-exclusive dimensional being card with another exclusive. Today's video is gonna be about, you know what this video gonna be motherfucking about, because it's a lot of shit we gotta basically get into, a lot of shit we gotta motherfucking break down. First thing first, we all know that this whole secret society been here way before this earth even existed. Actually, teamwork made the motherfucking dream work, so we all basically created this shit together. Now, you gotta understand and understand, you as an individual spirit, you have a choice. You have a purpose in life. I don't give a fuck if he's gay, bisexual, or any of that bullshit. That's his business. That ain't got shit to do with me, and that's his problem. Feel me? But of course, we're not gonna sit here. Remember, teamwork made the motherfucking dream work. So what the fuck was his parents doing before he came into this world? That's we gotta get down to the deep rooted cause. Most importantly, we gotta blame the father too. The father is responsible for this shit. The father is responsible for this motherfucking shit. Because remember, you have frequency, which is your space, your spirit. You have vibration, which is your feelings and emotions. And you have energy, which is your body, which you create. So, of course, death comes in threes. But your spirit and your soul never die. Your body dies, and of course, it replenishes, it reforms. It takes another shape and form of another vessel. Energy can never be destroyed. It can only be reciprocated. So, of course, that goes to show you see motherfuckers in the sky putting chemtrails out there, because the energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be reciprocated. So, of course, they gotta find ways to try to get rid of motherfucking garbage and shit like that. So, of course, they ain't got nowhere else to put it. So, they gotta basically burn that foil. They gotta burn that fuel into the sky. Now, listen. This video is very demonic. Very satanic. We all know that shit. Protect your kids. Protect their visions. Protect their energy from shit like this. You don't want your kids going down that motherfucking route. See, now, the finger is to be pointed at the parents that's responsible for this shit. Because if you knew what the fuck you was doing in bed when you was having sex, you wouldn't be creating these demons into this world. These devils. These Lucifers. However you want to say it, or however you want to call it. Because these are confused spirits. And of course, when his parents was fucking, they was confused. They didn't know what the fuck they was doing. First of all, the father was confused, most importantly. Because you know that shit. Once you inside of a female's vagina, whatever's on your mind, whatever's on your heart, is what you're creating. So, of course, when it was time to ejaculate, his mom must have some good-ass pussy. Because if he was confused, when it was time to ejaculate, Lil Nas out his shit, clearly, he ain't want to pull out. Feel me? So when he was having sex with his moms, a whole lot of confusion was on his mind. A whole lot of... Remember, when you confused, these are your kids. These are what you're creating. The sex is like the quickest manifestations on this planet. Sex is like the quickest higher vibrational energy match, where you got a feminine and the masculine that's coming together, creating another energy to exist in this world. So, of course, the father was confused when he ejaculated in the mother. So with that being said, he didn't know what to do. He was confused. It was too much going on. He couldn't handle all that coochie. So that's what created Lil Nas today, for him to basically be in a circumstance situation of being vulnerable from his identity, being afraid to express himself, being afraid to put out there. See, a lot of people in this world have confused parents that pretty much created them. Actually, no, you created yourself. But of course, if that spirit is vibrating on that frequency, on the confused space and location, that spirit is basically going to go drive towards that spirit, that vessel, and of course, embody these traits. That's how you get confused people as far as mismatched genders. This goes for males and females too. So, yeah, that's pretty much why Lil Nas was in the closet about certain things and shit like that. But of course, his card is the Temperance, which means he's dealing with a whole lot of internal circumstances and situations. A whole lot of self-doubt, a whole lot of guilt, because he's an Aries sun, which we are in Aries season. So, of course, they're going to be using these stars. And, of course, he has a Capricorn moon, which is basically ran by this Earth. So, of course, that's dealing with two cardinals. That's two cardinal signs right there. We got fire cardinal, initiating new ways on how to feel and see about reality. And we got cardinal moon, which is finding comfortability when it comes to initiating new ways on how to think and be practical. And this video was released on the 26th of March, 2021. That card that was played was the Tower card, which is the Aries card, which is the zodiac sign. So basically, things must come down, things must fall, chaos, out of destruction. Of course, the Hierophant card was also played with that day also. The Hierophant represents occult, mysticism, behind the scenes, society. And that's the society we motherfucking in. So, of course, we can talk about Illuminati, we can talk about secret society. It's the same motherfucking group. It's the same motherfuckers. They just switch their name up and come up with new theories to make it seem like they are more groups of them. But it's only like, what, a few people? And they got a certain amount of people that they basically revenue and create and construct. But yeah, we ain't gonna get lost into that shit. We all know that shit. Now, this video is very, very fucking chaotic. Like, this video should not even be pretty much for kids and shit, because you know all the energy that was put into that video is very demonic. It can fuck with your psyche. It can make you do things. And of course, you know, attention goes where energy flows. So whatever you're giving your attention to is basically what you're creating. Don't give that video a reaction. Just sit back, observe, and see what's going on for what it truly is, and know that this is the world you in. So remember, so the video started off when, you know, where it was in the heavens. Not most likely the heavens, but of course the clouds, which is the gas, the space. And of course it came down to density, where he was playing the guitar. He was by himself. Eve was nowhere to be in sight, which means they took the feminine, aka the female, out of the equation. They said, oh no, we're not going to use a female for this. We're just going to basically base this upon male and male. But of course, what happened was, the Eve was basically the snake, which is the serpent. Now the serpent is basically the beings, a bunch of beings that was basically here to create, try to like control you guys as far as like a society. Even in the Bible it said the same shit. You know, the serpent, they didn't really have a vessel yet, so of course the serpent was pretty much mimicking Eve. And what had happened was, the serpent scared Nas. So Nas was scared. He was pretty much got taken off guard. And of course the serpent manipulated him. The serpent put him in a sunken space. The serpent put him in a hypnotization. The serpent got in his mind, his desire, a demon, a devil, desires, lower animalistic nature, which means he's trapped. His spirit is trapped down here by his penis area, where your spirit's supposed to be basically governed up here, not getting lost in the body and shit. It's supposed to basically be rising above the horizon. So his spirit got caught down here and shit. Where, of course, what season is that? Scorpio season. Feel me? Of course, that's Scorpio season. And of course, that's death and transformation season. That's the underworld. Feel me? That's Pluto, death, transformation, destruction. You know that shit. So basically, that's where he was at. Hell, down there. The lower you go down, the lower you're vibrating down there in density, is basically you experiencing hell, a desire, pleasure. Where if you knew that you're not supposed to go to the extreme, you're supposed to have an equilibrium, you would know that, okay, overindulgence could bring me down here into my lower chakra, where it will put me at a lower frequency, a lower vibration, where I do not need to basically be. So, of course, when this circumstance situation played out, what had happened was they brought him to Judgment Day. For me, he was being judged by what? All his brothers and sisters, supposedly, as we will call ourselves, neighbors, brothers, sisters. So, of course, they wasn't with that shit. There's a lot of masculine deities in there. And of course, he was representing pink for pleasure. He was wearing pink for pleasure. For me, that's dealing with the lower chakra, the lower animalistic nature. Of course, they all, majority of them had on blue, which is masculine, thinking the communication logic. So basically what had happened was they tortured him, they threw shit at him, and of course, he got hit with an object, which knocked him unconscious. Now, boom, being that he got knocked unconscious, but before we even got there, we saw an image on a tree, and the image burned. That basically represents symbolism. The symbolism is powerful, and we all know that shit. So when that tree burned, that means fire, destruction, chaos. Feel me? Fire represents killing something off. So basically that whole part was killed off and destroyed in the monsters. Now when we got into the spectrum of him with the chains on, he had chains on because, he was being chained up. He was being crucified like Jesus Christ. Feel me? Just like how they did Jesus Christ, even though Jesus Christ is not a real person. That's just the sun in the sky that you look at that shines on you. A being that's stuck into his body, taking on all those responsibilities. Now he's in hell. Feel me? Jesus is in hell. You don't want to go there. You don't want to be doing that shit. You want to make sure you get out of hell. You want to go to your space, your location, where you are comfortable with, where you don't have no laws, no fucking government, nobody telling you what to do, nobody telling you to do this or worship, none of that shit. Feel me? None of that motherfucking shit. We all gods and goddesses. Don't get that fucked up. And you don't have to sell your soul for you to basically get from point A to point B to point C to promised motherfucking land. So don't get lost and get caught up into what society is presenting in your motherfucking face. Because remember, what you're paying attention to is what you're creating within you, with your kids and your motherfucking masculine and feminine, aka your daughters and your males, aka your Adam and Eve. Your Adam is your mind, your logic. Your Eve is your feelings and emotions. Always know that. So basically, these are always at war. What happens when there's a full moon? That's opposites. Opposites attract. That's the Adam and Eve. Full spectrum. When you got the sun and the moon coming together for a full moon. It's at battle right now. It's at opposition right now. Opposites attract. But you could be attracting the wrong shit. Always know that. You can be attracting good shit or bad shit. But it's up to you on what you basically, depending on what you're going to basically attract in your motherfucking life. But yeah. But just like how that scene played out. What had happened was, he fell. He was falling from grace, which means Hercules. Got caught into his desire. When he seen that chick, he was like, damn, she bad. Feel me? He got lost into his desires and his pleasures. So now what happened is, he's falling. Now he see an angel that's trying to save him. But of course, despair came. The pole came. The desire came. So he came basically down. He went falling down. Instead of going up, he came back down because he was vibrating low. That's what happens when you're going to sleep and when you're going to another world. You either going to ascend and go to another domain, another dimension, or you're going to get caught lost down here by shit that you was attached to, whether it was a car, a person, place, or thing. You're going to get caught right back down here in hell. Be reincarnated again. Boom. So what happened? He came down here. He got reincarnated right back in hell. Now what happened is, the devil's sitting right there. Now he's going to pretty much shake himself on the devil. And he's going to basically give himself to the devil. And what's going to happen now is he's programmed. He's controlled. Then of course, what happened in the end, he snapped the devil's neck. Feel me? The neck represents Taurus, earth, structure. So what happened was he took the crown on and put the crown on his head. And his eyes changed. Fiery. Feel me? So basically what that means is he was basically feeding what he was paying attention to. So if you're paying attention to demonic shit, you're going to be a demon. And what happened is you're going to be reigning in hell. Where all the lower spirits and all the ghosts that was lost and the motherfucking flesh, they're going to be inheriting that. And that's internal hell. Externally too. And the only way out is the mind. If you ain't got your fucking mind and you lost into certain circumstances, situations, and your parents fucked that up for you, you gotta fight that fight. This is what's gonna happen down the line. You're gonna get lost into doing things opposite, living backwardsly. Because devil means live, which means you live backwardsly. Always know that shit. You wanna live forwardly. Idea, problem, solution. Not solution, problem, idea.